What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's stimulus update and second stimulus check update. Currently, we have Democrats that are fighting and pushing Nancy Pelosi to make a stimulus package deal. We also have the American people urging somebody to give them some sort of relief. And today, which is a very, very shocking interview, and I'm going to link to it down below, we had Wolf Blitzer from the Situation Room question Nancy Pelosi as to why she won't accept President Trump's $1.8 trillion stimulus package, and that made her mad. She was furious. She was clutching her pen. She was pointing at the camera. She was clutching her fist. She was shaking. This is very interesting. Wolf Blitzer simply asked Nancy Pelosi, what do you say to Ro Khanna when he said that the American people can't wait until February? $1.8 trillion is significant and double what Obama did. Make a deal and put the ball in McConnell's court. Well, when he asked this, what do you say to Democrat Ro Khanna? Pelosi had this to say. What I say to you is, I don't know why you're always an apologist, and many of your colleagues are apologists for the Republican position. Well, Nancy Pelosi never answered the question. She never answered, what would you say to Ro Khanna? All she said was she respects him and she respects others as well. However, they do not know what they're talking about. They are not in the negotiations, so they don't know what is in each other's bill. They also don't know what the language is, which is the other issue. If nobody knows, if even the Democratic Party does not know what is Nancy Pelosi actually trying to get, then what is she fighting for? And if you didn't get a chance to see this interview, okay, I'm going to go and link to it down below. Make sure you go and watch. Okay, make sure you go and watch it and see how Nancy Pelosi deflects. See her reactions. See her body language. Go and watch this because this is something that she is not used to. She is not used to being questioned in this way. So, it looks to me like she was completely uncomfortable. She was outside of her comfort zone, and it just looked unnatural for her. So, go and watch it. I'll link to it. It'll be the first link down in the description box below. It's over on CNN. But go and watch it and then come back here and let me know what your thoughts are. Because I guarantee you, things are probably going to start to change because of this one interview. Now, if you don't want to watch it, I completely understand. Let me give you some of the highlights. Let me highlight some of the key points for you. First, I want to start with the end of the interview. And I want to start with the end of the interview because this was something that I've been saying all along, but let me just explain what happened. Wolf Blitzer, he said, and they're coming to the end of the interview, but Wolf Blitzer says, it's not about me. It's about the millions of Americans that can't put food on the table. And Nancy Pelosi interrupted him and said, and we represent them. Well, when Wolf Blitzer said he sees them every day as they are out begging for food and money, Nancy Pelosi again interrupted him and said, and we feed them. Do you? Well, here's the problem. Here's the overall problem with what Nancy Pelosi is saying and what the Democrats are fighting for. It's the fact that something is much better than nothing. Mark Meadows and Steve Mnuchin, they said this over the weekend that Republicans do not support the idea that a little bit is not better than nothing at all. Nancy Pelosi did say that any deal that gets passed will include everything retroactive, which means nobody will be forgotten. There'll be retroactive stimulus checks. Not sure how that works because everybody's going to get one anyway. But there'll be retroactive unemployment. There'll be PPP funding, which is supposed to be retroactive. Again, not sure exactly how that works if people have already been laid off. But that's what she said. Everything is going to be retroactive. So it doesn't matter if something's passed today or next week or in 3 months. Everything's retroactive. But again, what do I know? Right now, Nancy Pelosi seems to be losing the support of her caucus. It's happening slowly, but it is happening. Republicans, on the other hand, are in complete disarray, and the only thing that they agree upon is to move forward with the Supreme Court nominee and the Supreme Court hearings. But Democrats are slowly catching up with their issues and their problems and their lack of support. So, as of right now, what we know is if nothing good happens in the next couple of weeks, then nothing good might not happen at all. In this interview, Nancy Pelosi kept saying that her caucus and the chairman who wrote the bill know more about the problems the American people are facing than anybody else, including the media. Well, here's my problem with this. My problem is that how does this group of millionaires, might not be millionaires, but they're probably all fairly close, how would they know what the American people need? How would they know what the American people want if they have never had to get food from a food shelter? If they have never had to sleep if they've never had to get food from a food bank, or if they've never had to sleep in a shelter? How would they know what the American people are going through? Because that's essentially what is happening. There are individuals, there are women, children, men, families living in shelters because there's nowhere else to go. There's people living in tents alongside the highway. And yet, these millionaires in Congress think they know more about what the American people need than the American people. Right now, the issue that Nancy Pelosi has is that she believes the only package that should be fought for is her own. She doesn't believe the $1.8 trillion stimulus package would even help. What I can tell you after watching this interview, and again, go and watch it, I've watched it several times, is that Nancy Pelosi doesn't seem to be willing to negotiate down off of that $2.2 trillion stimulus package. This means that any package is most likely dead on arrival unless it's going to be for $2.2 trillion or higher. Now, I believe that a $2.2 trillion stimulus package is great. It would help out a lot of people. But the problem is something now is better than nothing at all. Now, Wolf Blitzer did end up asking Nancy Pelosi, is the reason you do not want to accept a stimulus deal for $1.8 trillion because President Trump's names would be on the check? Nancy Pelosi responded with, no, he's not that important. Okay? Now, here's what I want you to go and do. Okay? Again, go and watch that interview. It will be the first link down in the description box below. Go and watch that and see how she responds to the different questions. Wolf Blitzer sat there, stone cold silent, and just listened. You can see when he wanted to say something because his lip would slowly move and then he'd sit there in silence again while Nancy Pelosi went on and on. But Nancy Pelosi did not necessarily do that when Wolf Blitzer was asking the questions. There were points where she keeps looking down. She was talking, or he was asking a question, and she would slowly just look down. Not reading a script, not reading anything, just looking down. Here's the problem. For Nancy Pelosi, that is not normal. For some people, looking down is normal. Nancy Pelosi, that is not normal. Also, there were times when her hands got very shaky. That is a sign of nervousness. Because how do I answer the question? If you ever watch somebody in maybe an FBI interrogation or some type of an interrogation, the person that is usually guilty is a little bit shaky. They're a little bit nervous. How do they respond? Haven't been through this. What do I do? Well, that was Nancy Pelosi in this interview. At one point, she clutches her pen and points to the camera. That is a sign of anger. Most people, they will clutch their fist when they want to hit something, when they get mad. Nancy Pelosi, she grabbed a pen, points to the camera. Okay? This is just a sign of anger. Now, whether this goes anywhere, anything happens, this leads to a bill, who knows? But what I do know is Nancy Pelosi, as of right now, is losing some support. Now, whether she gets support from the American people or not, who knows? But what we do know is the American people need help. The American people are the ones that need that support. Not Nancy Pelosi, not President Trump, not Steve Mnuchin, Mitch McConnell, Mark Meadows, anybody like that. Okay? The American people need the help. We need the support. And if, all these people in Congress want our vote, if President Trump wants our vote, pass a stimulus package. If Joe Biden wants our vote, tell Nancy Pelosi to accept a stimulus package. The American people need help, so do something now. Now, I honestly believe that 1.8 trillion would do a lot of people a lot of good right now. But ultimately, there will most likely need to be a targeted stimulus package later on down the road. It could be, a couple months, it could be, a few months, could be weeks after this next stimulus package is passed. So if it's passed for $1.8 trillion, I personally believe there will be an additional stimulus package that will eventually have to be passed to address some shortcomings from this bill. I personally believe that $2 trillion to right about $2.2 trillion is going to be the magic number to give everybody the additional relief and stimulus they need to slowly get the economy back to where it once was. But ultimately, the vaccine for this virus is going to play the biggest role. It's not who's in office. It's not whether the stimulus package is for 1.5 trillion, 1.8 trillion, or 2.4. The vaccine is going to play the major role. So once this happens, then we will really see what is left. What are the bits and pieces that the U.S. government needs to focus on and provide targeted stimulus to have that industry or have that group of people or whatever slowly bounce back. Now, I say this because it doesn't matter whether it was in the CARES Act that was passed months ago or the additional stimulus bills that slowly got passed after that. But when you are doing the negotiation, when you're thinking about the things that are potentially going to come up, nothing ever works out as expected. There's always something that pops up that nobody ever thought of. That's just the way it works. Okay? So, what I anticipate is there's going to be a lot of people diving into this interview. There's going to be some people that are going to push even harder to get Nancy Pelosi out as the Speaker of the House. But again, we will just have to wait and see what actually happens. So, just wanted to provide this quick little update on this interview because, I watched this several times. I thought this was completely out of the ordinary for Nancy Pelosi. I thought this was interesting to watch. So again, go and watch it again. It will be the first link down in the description box below. So after you watch it, come back. Let me know what your thoughts are. Or if you already watched it, what did you think? So just want to thank you guys for watching, showing the support to this channel. Again, thank you guys for watching. Hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed today's video. And I'll see you guys on the next one.